Welcome. Today I'll be actually commentating on an arena game between two pretty well-known players. One of them actually very well-known. As you can see, it's pretty much arena and they're actually all walled off. Over here at the back, I don't know why he should be walled off here, but it's a computer which walls him off. So, yeah, or the AI in that case. So he'll probably want to destroy these walls at the back. But getting back onto the topic. Yeah, two pretty well-known players. One of them not that well-known. I haven't really heard of him. El Padre, that is, playing as a Spanish today. A bit of idle time. Yeah, putting his villagers onto the sheep. So, yeah, him playing as a Spanish. Spanish are pretty good team arena side. Why? Because they can get slung by their colleagues and put up a forward castle and get out those conquistadors. Also alone, they can be pretty good as well, because they can also put up the castle in the front and get out conquistadors. And conquistadors being pretty strong and relatively expensive. However, due to their strength, like their strength to cost ratio, they are pretty efficient. And getting conquistadors inside an enemy base can do a lot of damage to the villagers and potentially anything. Usually people will opt to go with monks to actually combat conquistadors in this case, when they're actually being rushed. So when they see the castle going up, they'll probably build a monastery in defense, probably after they actually build a castle in defense, maybe. Most likely. But this is the other player which we should get to. Actually, well, I can't really say anything about his tactics because we really don't know what's coming when he's playing. Anything can pretty much come up. But with El Padre has an okay map, having a front gold, which is not that good, but in all fairness, over here it probably won't be harassed that much. Having a secondary gold which is at the back, which is pretty good, and being a secondary gold at the back, he can comfortably take from this maybe town center if he wants to. Having a back stone which is perfect for him. The back stone will be able to be used to get out those early conquistadors, or that early castle initially, then the early conquistadors. Having another side stone over here, which is pretty good. The side stone obviously being you know, cuddled by these trees over here, which is never good, but it's only cuddled at a small surface area, and it should be fine for him. It's having a relatively great map. In regards to relics, having 1, 2, 3 relics near his base, which is pretty good. Other than that, it's okay. Having also Ds inside his base, so he won't have to break down the wall to get out his Ds. Instead, he'll probably want to just lure him with a scout over here, or maybe mill it if he desires to do so. Just luring in his first ball, I'm pretty sure. Yep, his first ball being at 13 population, luring in his first ball. Having putting down a house, not going for wood, I don't think yet. Wait, no, going for wood here. Why would he not go for wood? Having 4 people on wood. Usually when you want to go for in the arena, they have 5 people on wood, but it depends on the player. I mean, right now they're both going for 4 people on wood. I'd go 5 people on wood. Usually the experts actually differ to what I do. Going on to the second player, Orcus. Orcus, aka known as Chris, playing as Saracens. Chris is a very good player, a very long time player of Age of Empires as well, actually luring his first ball right now, slightly delayed from El Padre, and having his score slightly under El Padre's score, but at such an early time it shouldn't really matter. Yeah, playing as Saracens. Saracens are pretty good late game civilization, also early game as well. Depending on how you use them. Usually, well, you can say that they're a civilization that probably actually flourishes towards the middle of the game, and then just keeps escalating because of what their changing strategies are. I mean, the strategy with the Saracens differs greatly depending on what the strategizer is going for, if that made any sense whatsoever. Having a back stone, which is pretty good, might be able to get up that castle, and in retaliation to conquistadors can make Mamluks, even though they do have a high HP count. However, the conquistador do have a very high attack, and going Mamluks, well, he'd have to go pretty early into Mamluks to actually have an effect if he's trying to defend with them. Otherwise, he'd probably want to go for an attacking approach. Depending on Chris how he goes, well, we'll actually find out. Having 2 golds to the front, so he might want to put up a defensive castle. I'm not sure, as again I just said, it's Chris. Yep, so having 2 golds at the front, which is pretty good. Actually pretty bad, pretty good for El Padre is what I meant to say. And having stones all around his base, and El Padre also having stones around his base. Having his forward stone, his secondary stone is actually pretty forward. I don't think he has any other stone in his base, which is bad because El Padre has 2 stones in his base and Orcus has only 1. Having back wood though, and his wood is pretty close to his town center, his main bulk of wood, whereas with El Padre only has this small amount over here and this over here, but that shouldn't be a problem. I mean, if his villagers do stray over here, I mean, he can just take them back here, and I don't think, you know, they'd stray over there anyway. Having a pretty good map, El Padre probably having the stronger map than Orcus as well. As you notice in Arena as well, there's hardly any elevation. That's because it's Arena. In Fortress, I think it differs. In Fortress, they do actually have elevations and so on and so forth. Getting in his second ball, there's only 3 villages on the ball, which is pretty good. I mean, it just shows his micro. I mean, he probably managed to micro the villages around while trying to gather in the ball. Not going for gold yet. It's obviously accustomed to not go for gold. Usually in Arena, people will tend to go up on, say, 26 to 30 population to actually go for a fast castle. What they would do is go 26 to 30 population. This is a standard thing. And once they get up to feudal age, they build a blacksmith and a market, and then ready up to castle age. And once they're ready up to castle age, that's where the bulk of the action in Arena comes in. And this is why it becomes an easy job for a commentator to do so, because a commentator can really only focuses on castle age and imperial age eventually, if it does reach imperial age. Some Arena games do reach imperial age. I mean, it's usually a great deal of difference between the players and what time they actually reach imperial age, but it shouldn't really matter. So 26 population for El Padre over here, still taking from sheep and actually luring his deer. Over here we see that Orcus has actually milled his deer, which is pretty weird. People usually just lure in the deer, but just seeing that the deer are pretty far away from the town center, so it's actually pretty reasonable, the fact that he actually lured the deer, which is okay. So let's just forward this a bit. And yep, just taking in his last sheep. El Padre playing a pretty okay game, going up to feudal age now on 28 population. Orcus on 26 population going up. Orcus lagging behind in population, but gonna reach the feudal age earlier than El Padre over here. I think that Orcus probably wants to get up to castle age ASAP, building an archery range. Wow, that's a very weird combination to go. Archery range and blacksmith. He's probably still going to go for a fast castle, I'm pretty sure. What's Orcus planning? Okay, not going for anything with the archery range. A bit of idle time on these villages, but they should, yep, being rescheduled to go back to work. Just scouting around for now. An archery range. Ooh, creating an archer. What is he planning? What is Orcus planning that he's actually creating an archer? Is there something over here? Maybe there's something in the wall. Maybe he's going to try a rush. Well, eventually, maybe that's why he took out his villagers to actually lure from the deers, but I'm not sure. Yeah, going up for 2 archers, which is pretty weird. And this is what I said about Orcus is he's actually going up to castle age as well, so he'll probably want to upgrade them to crossbowmen, or maybe he's trying to use them to get to the relics. I'm not sure. And see, this is the difference between a normal player and an expert player such as Orcus, because Orcus, you really don't know what he's up to, and I'll probably just call him Chris from now because that's his well-known name. You really don't know what he's up to. In fact, Orcus actually wrote a book, or typed out a book, or whatever. Yeah, he wrote a book completely about Age of Empires, and it's a pretty good book. I haven't read it yet, but it should be a good book. I mean, coming from such really high profile players such as Orcus, I mean, one of the most high profile players. I'm not praising him or anything. I'm more of a Doubt fan myself, but you can't deny the fact that Orcus is actually a pretty good player. And actually a bit behind in the score. I think Orcus is about to hit the castle age. El Padre, how's El Padre looking? Well, he's a bit behind. I didn't think he's actually scouted this yet. I don't think he can scout it yet. Yeah, actually there's a hole here for Orcus. Ooh, claiming that scout, and then the scout actually running away. Coming back for more. Ooh, he came back for more, and El Padre shouldn't have done that. He should have kept his scout. Keeping his scout at 1 HP would be better than 0 HP and killing him, because the fact that if Orcus comes out with monks to actually grab a relic, a 1 HP scout is enough to take out a monk. So Orcus coming out with 3, or Chris in fact, coming out with 3 crossbowmen. What's he going for? 3 crossbowmen. Yep, going for crossbowmen, and having the first upgrade on them as well. Ooh, a monastery coming up, which is pretty good from his point of view. Spanish do get, that's what I'm thinking about. Spanish do get missionaries, but there's no point in putting up missionaries. I mean, they just go with monks. Missionaries are a bit of a deviation away from the norm of everything. So they probably just go for monks. Ooh, might be able to catch this in the middle of putting up a gate. Ooh, killing off 1 villager. Pretty good by Orcus, and I don't think that El Padre has actually expected Orcus to come out with a bit of military at this stage. Putting up a castle by El Padre, and the bad thing about conquistadors is you don't really use them for defense. You use them for raiding, and forcing a defensive castle by a Spanish player is very good. I mean, Orcus taking control of the front, and I think this is why he took out crossbowmen at the start. He wanted to shut down the villages before they actually make it out of the base to forward castle him. See, if he didn't come out with the crossbowmen, El Padre could have actually castled him anywhere around here. He could have claimed this stone and castled him over here. He could have castled him here and completely shut down his gold. But getting up those early few crossbowmen, he's been able to actually. I think the game sounds a bit high. Yeah, so he's actually been able to force a defensive castle by El Padre, and no conquistadors in that case. El Padre, is he going for any conquistadors? Actually taking the lead as well. No conquistadors just yet. I think he's going to stick with going for monks. The problem is when you convert a crossbowman can kill other crossbowmen very quickly, and so that blue crossbowman doesn't have that much of an effect. 3 conquistadors coming out right now, probably enough to get rid of all these crossbowmen. But a monk out by Orcus, and monks are usually better at dealing with conquistadors than any other unit at this stage, including pikemen, because pikemen are too slow. A monk coming out with 9 range, and a conquistador's range is at 6, so a monk outranges the conquistador by 3 range at this point. Claiming 1 relic, Orcus going for this relic down here, actually having 2 relics inside his base, which is pretty good. He'll probably be able to claim those later on. Orcus actually behind in score, but it's pretty close. I mean, neck to neck. Going with one more of the relics, probably going to put in this outside monastery over here. Might go for a full monk rush. I mean, Saracens are known for their monk rush, their monk slash siege rush. And yep, so nothing really happening now. Or might be able to shut down this. Yeah, or putting it down, not getting that that conversion in time. But they're having a relic over here, and El Padre doing a pretty good job forcing Chris to actually retreat from those 3 relics, and he'll probably be able to claim all 3 of the relics and push out in that case. One tactic that Orcus can actually do, which is very unlikely, is go for cavalry archers. I mean, the Saracens do get every single upgrade on the cavalry archers, getting Parthian tactics, and also getting heavy cavalry archer, and also getting all the defensive and aggressive upgrades for the archers. However, they are more expensive than the Han cavalry archers, and usually in any civilization other than Huns, cavalry archers are not used. coming up with a town center, not a defensive town center, just a town center, and the conquistadors laying into the crossbowmen, doing a lot of damage. But 2 monks over here might be able to claim 2 of the conquistadors, have it outranging, and I think both of them are going to be converted. 1, and only 1 being converted now. Yep, actually killing off the monk that was converting the second conquistador, so actually saving his ass pretty much. Having a lot of crossbowmen out, which is pretty good. Actually, he should really try to get the second defensive upgrade on his crossbowmen. Maybe that could help with defending against the conquistadors. The conquistadors are a massive threat because they have 55 lives. I mean, the crossbowmen have 35, and they also have 6 range, and they have 16 attack. But I do not think that their range actually increases. I think that they do get affected by the upgrades in the stable to actually increase their health. But other than that, it should be fine. Orcus actually going up with 1, 2, 3 town centers. El Padre being on 1 town center. 1? Yep, only 1 town center actually. El Padre going up to Imperial Age, which is a very, very good move. Orcus on 52 population, a bit in front in population, but still at that point, he hasn't completely outboomed El Padre. And if El Padre can actually come forward, he may be able to take this game. If he comes forward with a monk slash conquistador combination, he can actually do a lot of damage. And if he was to stay around this monastery, that can actually and effectively mean that he can claim both the relics from that monastery. And this is the problem with having an aggressive monastery. So yep, 1 monk trying to convert that conquistador. Will he be able to? Ooh, not being able to convert the conquistador, which is not very ideal. Coming out with more monks, might want to actually get the upgrade which allows him to convert buildings if he actually desires to. However, I don't think that monasteries are affected by that. I think that they have an upgrade by themselves. Another monk coming out with 1 relic in his hand as well, which is weird. Ooh, converting one of the conquistadors, actually taking it back to actually taking it back. Ooh, will he get it into the base? Or actually getting that second relic into his monastery, which is pretty good. One bad thing about conquistadors is that they are very, very, very much affected by arrow fire. So a town center is a pretty good way to defend against conquistadors, and having the same range as a conquistador as well, so they can't really get close to the town center. Coming up with a few villages, having almost enough to build a castle. Might want to go for a forward castle. Orcus almost 200 points in front, but not until Imperial Age is actually being researched here. Imperial Age almost going to be researched. Yep, being researched as well. A lot of monks as well out, and a lot of conquistadors out as well. And yep, so just targeting down this house as well, having a lot of defensive crossbowmen. Ooh, putting that into the town center before the conquistadors could do really anything, and really hasn't gone for that forward castle. I'm thinking that he's afraid of these crossbowmen, maybe having 5+2 range, still being outranged by the monks. But at the same time, as you can see again, Chris doing a very, very, very effective job, and by converting crossbowmen, other crossbowmen can kill off those crossbowmen very easily. A castle coming up. This is going to force Chris to go forward, is it? Oh, actually deleting those farms as well. Coming out from around. I think this amount of crossbowmen will not be able to deal with this amount of conquistadors, and a defensive castle coming up. More villages on the defensive castle than on the offensive castle. Oh, 1 conquistador falling down, and Orcus actually doing a pretty good job. What is he doing now? Wow, he had a bit of idle time on that castle, and might be able to kill off a few villagers. In all fairness, Spanish are a very good side to play, to use while in arena. They're a very good side, having no mangonels out. So, that castle going up. Can this castle go up by Orcus? Will it go up? No one knows. Yep, going up as well. Is he coming out with any Mamluks? I'm probably not sure about that. I'll just check. Is Orcus coming out with any Mamluks? Yep, having 3 Mamluks come up. Mamluks probably going to catch up to these monks, do a lot of damage. Ooh, having that trebuchet over there doing a lot of damage. Orcus probably falling behind, 500 points behind. Very, very forward attack by El Padre. Orcus actually going into a massive boom. Orcus on 60 population, El Padre on 55, so still in the lead. Is he going... I think Orcus should have actually went up with a trebuchet at first, rather than going up for Mamluks. I think that's why he's only going for 3 right now. If he can actually go for a trebuchet, or going for battering rams, which is pretty good. Battering rams are a pretty effective way of dealing with castles, I guess. Having 3 trebuchets out by El Padre. El Padre looking to just make do with this. Another lumber camp coming up by Orcus. I'm not sure if Orcus can hold this out. I mean, having a battering rams, but battering rams not really doing anything, and him being in castle age as well. Ooh, that castle's probably going to go down. This is probably GG at this stage. We just thought, is that castle? Yep, that castle going down, and this is probably GG. I don't think he's got anything. He's got no resources as well. Padre, yep. Wait. Orcus saying pick civs. I think they're probably planning to play another game maybe. El Padre saying GG. I think he's saying that Orcus probably not giving up, but El Padre is saying that, yeah, well, it's time to give up. I mean, I think I've won this already. El Padre being over 900 points in front, yep, and Orcus resigning out there. Having a lot of people on wood and on stone. So I had something beforehand that I was about to say. Saracens can actually go for cavalry archers, which is a pretty effective way to actually deal with stuff. I mean, the Saracen cavalry archers actually have a very, very good upgrade. I'll just show you over here. Saracen, because we're actually spectating Orcus. One moment. Cavalry archers, they get the heavy cavalry archer. They get the thumb ring, they get the Parthian tactics, and their blacksmith, how does it look as well? Their blacksmith, they get all the upgrades on their armor and all the upgrades on their attack as well. They get ballistics, they get chemistry. So they get pretty much everything that an archer requires, and so they not as well. They're said to be a camel and a naval civilization, but they're also a very, very good archer civilization. They get arbalists, they get hand cannoneer, they get elite skirmisher. They pretty much get anything in the archery range. And heavy cavalry archer is a very good tactic. One of the main reasons why it's so good, like why I think it's actually good, is the fact that cavalry archers have +3 attack versus buildings, and this is actually unique to Saracens. And I put a challenge out: if people can actually go for a cavalry archer rush with the Saracens on an arena game or on any game, in that case, you know, and then give it to me, I'd actually be pretty grateful. I mean, the Saracens do get pretty good cavalry archers, and the cavalry archers have +3 attack versus buildings. So you can pretty much mass a cavalry archer to break down the walls, or the walls in arena, or break down palisade walls in Arabia, or so on and so forth. And so that's pretty good. Also, they get +1. The foot archers get +1 attack versus buildings, but not as good as the cavalry archers. And so I put a challenge out: if people can actually do that or go using that tactic, then post